Shalom. I hope that you're all doing well and that your Seders were as beautiful and as meaningful as they could be under these incredibly trying circumstances. Although we ended Pesach last night, I want to share with you one final Passover teaching as we transition into Shabbat. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, the great 18th century Hasidic master, writes about the four children of the Haggadah. And in his commentary, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak equates himself to the child who does not even know how to ask. She'eno yodea lishol. The Haggadah speaks of four children, he writes, one wise, one wicked, one simple, and one who does not even know how to ask. And I, Levi Yitzchak, am the one who doesn't know how to ask. And even if I did know how to ask, I would not dare to ask. For how could I venture to ask you, God, why everything happens as it does? How could I ask you why we are driven from one exile to another, or why our enemies torment us? How could I ask you, God, why we suffer? Because even if you did reveal your great secrets to me, surely I would not comprehend them. No, God, I don't want to know why we suffer. But please, do tell me one thing. Tell me not why we suffer, but rather tell me what this moment demands of me. In this week's Parshat, Shemini, we read of the shocking deaths of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu. The text tells us that their lives were taken because they offered Eish Zara, or alien fire, upon the altar. But according to the rabbis of the Talmud, there must be more to the story. God couldn't have taken the lives of Aaron's sons simply because they offered alien fire. And so some rabbis assert that Nadav and Avihu were actually killed because they were drunk. Other rabbis argue that it was because they were arrogant. And still others suggest that Nadav and Avihu lost their lives because they were overly ambitious and were plotting to overthrow the leadership of Moses and Aaron. But the truth is, the rabbis don't know why God took the lives of Nadav and Avihu. We don't know why God took their lives. And we'll never know the answer to that question. But as Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev teaches, knowing why human beings suffer isn't what's significant. What is ultimately significant is what that suffering demands of us. In other words, it's what we do in the face of suffering that truly matters. As Rabbi Harold Kushner writes, "What did I do to deserve this?" is an understandable outcry from a sick or a suffering person. But it's really the wrong question. The better questions to ask in the face of suffering are, what do I do now? And who is there to help me do it? Suffering in and of itself is meaningless. We give our suffering meaning by the ways in which we respond to it. In the midst of our global pandemic, I'm getting many questions from congregants about why this is happening. What did we do to deserve this? Are we being punished? Why is God causing us to suffer? But as Rabbis Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev and Harold Kushner both teach, why are we suffering is the wrong question. The right question to ask at this time is, what does our suffering demand of us? The rabbis of the Talmud don't know why Nadav and Avihu were killed. And the rabbis of our day and age don't have any answers as to why we are suffering under this modern day plague. But what we can tell you is what our suffering demands of us. Performing acts of gmilut chasadim, acts of loving kindness, observing the mitzvah of nichum avelim, of comforting the mourners, especially now at a time when they can't be physically comforted. Fulfilling the mitzvah of bikur cholim, of visiting the sick, even if we can only do so over the phone and not physically. And the greatest mitzvah of all, doing everything that we can to reduce the spread of the virus so that we can finally put this dark period behind us. I don't know why this virus is here. I don't know why we are suffering. But quite frankly, that's not important anymore. What matters most now is that we fulfill what this moment demands of us. Shabbat Shalom.